My girlfriend's ultimate betrayal, how I found out she was cheating with 4 guys. So yeah, never thought I'd be posting here, but man, I need to get this off my chest. Been with my girl for 3 years and was legit saving for a ring and everything. Then her phone starts blowing up at 2 a.m. like every night. She's all, it's just work stuff, but like, at 2 a.m.? Come on. I know everyone says don't go through your partner's phone, but whatever, I did it anyway, and holy crap, my life just exploded right there. Wasn't just one dude, 4 different guys. All these separate convos with pics I never want to see again, them planning hookups, and worst part? They were all joking about me. One was literally my best friend since we were kids, another was her boss, classic, our freaking neighbor from down the hall, and that gay friend she was always hanging out with who, surprise, surprise, wasn't actually gay. This had been going on for like 8 months while I'm working double shifts to save for our future and stuff. When I finally confronted her, I thought she'd at least try to deny it or cry or something. Nope. She straight up laughed and was like, "Took you long enough to figure it out." Said I was too predictable and she was bored. My so-called best friend texted later saying it wasn't personal and these things happen. Like WTF, man? I just grabbed my stuff that night while she went out to clear her head, which probably meant hooking up with one of them TBH. It's been like 2 months now. Moved to a different city, blocked all them, started therapy because I was messed up. Then yesterday she calls from some random number crying about how she made a huge mistake. Turns out boss dude fired her after getting what he wanted, neighbor moved away, my ex-friend got busted by his girlfriend, and the gay friend ghosted her once he got bored. She had the nerve to ask if we could work things out. I just laughed and hung up. Some things you just can't fix, and finding out your girlfriend's been living a whole secret life with 4 other dudes, yeah, that's definitely one of them.
I run a diner that has abandoned railroad tracks behind it. The steam engines get hungry at night. I own a diner in the deep hills of Redacted. Doesn't matter exactly where. You wouldn't find it on a map anyway. The only folks who come through are truckers, loggers, and the rare lost tourist who swears GPS sent them here by mistake. Behind the diner runs an old railroad line, supposedly decommissioned back in the 70s. Rusted signs say railroad property. No trespassing, but the line is anything but dead. Every night, usually between midnight and 3, the locomotives roll through. Steam engines, black iron monsters that hiss like they're breathing. They don't whistle, they don't announce themselves. They just arrive. Always slow, like they're stalking prey. There's a shed behind my diner, big and red, with siding that branches off the main line. The tracks lead straight inside it. When I bought the place 15 years ago, the realtor told me, "Don't mess with the shed. Don't go in it. Just keep it there." I thought he was joking. Or maybe it was just some local superstition. He wasn't. The first time I heard it, I was closing up, mopping the floors. Then came this low, shuddering groan from behind the diner. Not the sound of a train. Something more like a stomach. Then the floor shook. The glasses rattled. I went outside and saw one of those engines idling by the shed, steam leaking from its seams, the front end tilted slightly toward the door like a hound at the back porch. I don't know why I did it, but I brought out one of the leftover pies, still hot, and left it by the tracks. The engine hissed, let out a long, slow shh, and rolled into the shed. The pie was gone in the morning, plate and all. That became the routine. Whenever they come, I feed them. Sometimes pies, sometimes meatloaf, sometimes raw cuts I order special, things I don't even serve in the diner. They're not picky, but they need a lot. Sometimes it's every week, sometimes every night for a stretch. If I don't feed them, I learned that lesson in 2012. Business was slow, and I didn't have much left over. I ignored the groaning, figured it would pass. At 2:17 a.m., every light in the diner went out. The ground shook like an earthquake. By the time I ran out back, one of the engines had rammed itself halfway out of the shed, boiler glowing red like a furnace, steel shrieking as it pressed against the door. That sound? It wasn't just iron. It was rage, hunger. The next morning, I found claw marks. Claw marks. Across the shed door, long hooked gouges in the metal. I don't ignore them anymore. Some nights, it's just one engine. Other nights, 2 or 3. Last month, there were 6. All lined up, smoke curling, waiting their turn to slide into the shed. The shed is too small to hold them all, but they don't seem to care. It's not about space, it's about feeding time. All I can do is cook, feed them, and pray they never run out of patience. If you're ever driving deep in the hills and stumble on a lonely diner with no name, no signs, just the smell of fresh pie, keep driving, don't stop. Don't look at the shed. And for the love of God, don't listen if the locomotives call your name.
I think my girlfriend is a monster. My girlfriend, 21. And I, 23, have been dating for a few months now. We both bonded over the great outdoors, guns, and big trucks. When I first met her, there wasn't much to say, but how cute she was. Add that with the fact she knew how to handle a gun and drove a truck with one hand on some dirt, uneven trails. She's perfect, honestly. But I've begun to notice some odd stuff as things started to settle down after the high of our new relationship. She rarely spoke about her parents or any family members, never even got to learn where she was from, or to be specific, the exact location. All I got was the usual, "I flock from the Midwest." She said it with a chuckle, like she just told a great joke, and gave me this look with a twinkle in her eyes that suggested she didn't want to talk about it anymore. So I dropped it, like I always did. Her residence wasn't the only thing that bothered me. She also doesn't seem to sleep from what I know. Well, she does sleep, or at least I think she does. Because there are times when I'd be sleeping and just wake up in the middle of the night and see her in bed next to me, reading a book or just sitting in the dark. And she seems to be fine in the morning. No bags, no fatigue. Just a face full of energy that's ready to take the day by storm. Honestly, I don't know how she does it. Oh yeah, there's also the dogs and cats thing. She hates pets with a passion for some reason. When I suggested a puppy for our shared apartment, she quickly shut down the idea. But I guess the hatred was mutual, because every dog and cat that we encountered growled, hissed, snarled, or barked at her. There's also this one thing I noticed when we went camping this one time. I didn't think much of it, but it's starting to make more sense now that I think about it. After we parked our truck by the parking lot and signed off our names and headed into the woods, the forest was lively. Birds were singing, crickets and other insects were doing the usual anthem of the woods. But as we got to the epicenter of the noises, which is also the spot where we decided to set up, the noises just suddenly stopped. Nothing, no birds, no insects. Just eerie silence with an ominous breeze coming through. Got real quiet suddenly, didn't it? I said. But what she said next threw me off completely. That's just what happens when I'm around. You get used to it after a while. Her face was blank when she said that. No smile and not even her usual snarky cringe she does usually. She was dead serious. I never really thought much about it at first. But I've been online recently and have seen multiple videos about skinwalkers, wendigos, and other paranormal stuff. A forest going quiet out of nowhere, according to a video I watched, is not a good sign, and it got me thinking, was something in the area where we were? Or was the woods reacting to her? I'm still on edge now, looking at her with that smile that I've come to find disturbing recently. I'll update as soon as I can if I find out more.
I think I met a real-life vigilante. I, 23M, was coming home from a grocery store trip with nothing more than some bread, because I ran out, when my GF texted me while I was walking to my car. And while I was replying, a guy stepped out of the alley way in front of me, and he presses a gun to my chest before he throws me into the alleyway. Bread getting smashed against the ground and my back hitting a dumpster, with two other dudes following behind. One of them looked like a meth head. I don't know. Anyways, they begin trying to take my things: wallet, phone, shoes, keys. When out of nowhere, this dude dressed in some ridiculous costume drop kicks the guy with the gun, causing his face to smash into the concrete. And when the other two turn to face what I assume is a vigilante, I grab my things off of the ground and book it. This happened just last night. I called the cops and told them what happened. Apparently this has been happening recently, where a guy dressed in a big jacket, boots, black and gold luchador mask, and scarf around his neck has been doing major drug busts and taking down online predators all across my town. I don't know what to think of this, but I so hope there is Batman in my town.
Karma on Minecraft. I used to play on a Minecraft server, and I'm not playing on it anymore because of this whole debacle. I used to have an underground base. It got destroyed, and I left, came back later, and I started building a base somewhere else deep in the forests north of our villages, and I was enjoying it. I eventually found skeleton horses killed their riders, but I got a healthy horse and found another team if riders got way more skeleton horses. And I messaged people basically like this: "Yo, I got skeleton horses, want any?" And then TP responded, said, "Yeah, I would like one." I told her my coordinates, and she came up and got her a skeleton horse, and we bred our dogs, and as payment for some reason gave me her netherite armor and tools. Yeah, I know I'm that cool. Anyway, so I asked TP to help me do a couple of achievements to get the clothes they give you for doing them. I went down there and TP arrived with CO. I don't know what happened, but the two started fighting. I was confused. TP explained CO was a renowned griefer. I took a couple screenshots and showed SL she reset the server to before the fight. I downed the rail system they came from. The CO knew that we were going to take a couple things, because he is a dick. I got shot a couple times by him and ran into another base and saw a destroyed base. I took a screenshot of the destroyed base. I walked deeper into there and the jackass started acting innocent. I snuck off to grab horse armor, you know, reparations. When I got the horse armor, he attacked me after a fight in the mine in front. If the base, I died and lost it all. We called up SL and she reset the server and I got back my armor. After a week, and I had gotten fed up with the server until I got the message. CO told me that he stole my house. I simply said, okay, do what you want to see ya, and I left the chat. Here starts the revenge late at night. I came back online and rolled off their base and looked around seeing signs with their real names. So I thought maybe they have left forever or maybe they are gone for the day. So I put a sign saying, may I join, -gamertag. I changed gamertag the next morning. They were gone, so I smiled and I started to take shit and burn down buildings. I killed horses. But they had skeleton horses. They had stolen mine and murdered them. So I took those horses and rode them off. I wanted them to be free. And I started to burn shit down, and I loved it. I killed the villagers they owned, except the ones that don't do anything. And I took a screenshot and published it on the server feed. I went offline. When I came back, everything was back to normal. I was furious. Later on, this fight went on and I left. I came back later and I'm in visitor mode. I don't care. But I just feel pride. I got revenge. SL told me I was banned, but I frequently come back, just can't do shit. Me and TP are still friends. Bad ending, but I bet you get the idea of revenge.
The diary I bought already knew my past. Now it's writing my future. Part 1. I found the diary in a box at a yard sale. The woman running the stall had a smile that looked stapled on, stiff at the edges, as if she hadn't truly smiled in years. When I picked up the diary, she froze and stared at me. Then she whispered, almost breathless, $2. It was worn, bound in leather, with a brass clasp that no longer locked. The pages smelled faintly of mold and smoke. And they weren't empty. They were full. The handwriting was messy but steady, all scratched out in black ink. At first, I flipped through it casually. But then my stomach tightened. Because it wasn't just anyone's diary. It was mine. It had everything. My scraped knees as a kid. My weird crushes in grade school. The time I stole $1 from my mother's purse and stuffed it into my sock. Every thought I had kept private. Every shame I never told a soul, written down. At first, I laughed nervously, convincing myself it had to be coincidence, some bizarre prank. But when I got home, something froze me to the core. The last page wasn't about my past. It was about now. August 28th, 10:47 p.m. He sits at the kitchen table, staring at these words, pretending he isn't afraid. He swallows hard. Checks the front door, though he already locked it. Twice. He doesn't know if he'll hear the scratching in exactly 3 minutes. The book slipped from my damp hands. I don't know why I did it. Curiosity, maybe. But I stayed there, watching the clock. Listening. At exactly 10:50, I heard it. A slow, deliberate scrape at the front door. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I told myself I imagined it. But when I opened the diary again, my blood turned to ice. August 29th, 8:02 a.m. He tells himself it isn't real. Tells himself he only imagined the sound. But if he listens carefully, he can still hear it. A faint scratching at the edge of his memory. He eats a piece of toast. He doesn't notice the shadow in the hallway. I snapped my head toward the hallway. Empty. But the feeling lingered. Something had been there, watching me. That night, I tried an experiment. I left the diary closed on my nightstand. When I woke up, it was open. A fresh entry filled the page. It described my dream. Word for word. The one where my dead father sat on the edge of my bed and whispered in a voice like broken glass, "You can't shut it." The entries didn't stop. They no longer waited for me to open the book. The diary wrote itself. Sometimes the ink was still wet when I touched it. And then, it went further. Not just recording, not just reflecting, predicting. The diary I bought already knew my past. Now it's writing my future. Part 2. August 31st, 6:44 p.m. He thinks he'll order takeout tonight. He won't. Instead, he'll cut his finger while chopping vegetables. The blood will drip into the sink in slow, deliberate beats, and he will stare at it for a very long time, hypnotized. I laughed, grabbed a knife, and started slicing onions. Just to prove it wrong. The blade slipped. I watched a drop of blood swell at the tip of my finger, thick and red, before falling into the sink. On September 1st, I couldn't take it anymore. I decided to burn the damned thing. I carried it to the backyard, threw it into a metal trash can, and struck a match. But the second the flame touched the page, the words began to multiply. Ink bled across the paper like veins, racing faster and faster, filling line after line until the whole book trembled in my hands. The fire went out, cold, and there was a new entry, September 1st, 9:03 p.m. He tries to burn it. He can't. It writes faster when he's afraid. It feeds on him. He doesn't understand he will never destroy it. The more he resists, the stronger it becomes. I hurled it across the yard. It landed open on the grass, and the pages began to turn by themselves, as if invisible hands were rifling through them. The sound was like 100 whispers all at once. I ran inside and locked the door. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. The diary doesn't just predict anymore. It shows me things that haven't happened yet, but will. Last night, it wrote, September 2nd, 12:14 a.m. He won't hear the window slide open. He won't see the pale hand pulling back the curtain. He won't know she's already in the room until it's too late. I didn't sleep. I sat in the corner of my room, clutching a knife, staring at the window. Nothing happened. But this morning, when I opened the diary again, the entry had changed. September 2nd, 7:40 a.m. He sat in the corner all night with a knife. Thought it was enough. He didn't notice the footprints in the carpet leading to his bed. I looked. God help me, I looked. And they were there. Wet, pale footprints, stopping inches from where I had been sitting. It's writing now, even as I hold it. The words are appearing while I write this to you. I can barely keep up. It's describing me, writing, word for word, letter for letter, as if it's inside my head before my fingers even move. I don't know if posting this will help. Maybe if someone else reads it, it will break the cycle. Maybe then I'll finally be free. But the diary says otherwise. It says, September 2nd, 9:58 p.m. He thinks posting this will save him. He thinks someone out there will help, but all he's done is spread it. Every person who reads his words has already opened their own diary. They just haven't found it yet.